into game 3, where it is NIP that find themselves on red side with first pick.
Yeah, I think NIP took first pick as they did find the loss. Jarving and remain banned for the series on top of Rumble for Hoya. And honestly, we've seen Ashe Seraphine be denied for the series, Raafaa. Really curious if that actually sneaks its way through. Because I think that for NIP, I know we've spent a lot of time talking about how awesome it's been good when he's been winning lanes and how he's played quite well to do some of that. But I think that with a lot of the bot pairings that are missing, or at least the bot laners that have been picked so far, Ashe Jhin is a handshake for me that we might see in this game with Varus now off the table. Seraphine's been banned in this spot for the majority of the series. See if it is removed again here. Yeah.
Once again, even though Pantheon is available, it is not one of Guwon's most played this split. His overwhelming record has been with Vi and Nocturne, both 7 games apiece, and then Pantheon is third, but with only 3 games. NIP are not concerned about the Pantheon at the moment. They instantly slam the Rise, and Top Esports now contemplating what their answer is going to be.
I don't love that, as Anivia is still on the board, and I think Rise lost a lot of power with Phase Rush not being in the mix anymore. His ability to proc Phase Rush and use that to be kind of dominant, really big. And now no Phase Rush going up against Yone Maokai. Strong mid-jungle duo showing that definitely has a scaling element to it as Top Esports showing their hand. They want some scaling early on in this draft.
This will be Tien's first Maokai jungle of the split. Yeah. Although we know he's definitely played it in previous iterations, but really strong combo between him and Yone. But NIP are now going to try to brute force some
they're about to
decently strong scaling answers with the Nefiri.
We haven't seen a Yorick from Zuyan yet. I feel like this is the Yorick game, if you want to play it in the Jace. And 1-3-1 with Yone. That said, option to just go Sion, call it a day. This really hasn't been the role of Zuyan so far, being the tank player, and he has preferred the K'Sante to the Sion so far. But
yeah, he's played 3 games of K'Sante, whereas only 1 game of Sion.
Yeah.
Seems to be the comfort pick of choice. Okay, well, here's what I'll say, Matt. Right now, there's a significant frontline presence on Top Esports, and there's a significant lack of frontline presence on the side of Ninjas in Pyjamas.
I think that Rise just really struggles without Phase Rush. Your ability to pop Phase Rush, whether it is in lane, go for positive trades, especially if you're a good mid laner. A lot of these guys go bone plating, and they'll trade on bone plating timer to pretty much guarantee a win as Rise. And then in the fights as well, move speed matters so much in this champion to try and drop those empowered rune prisons on the right targets. It really can warp a fight in your favor. Much less move speed available for Rise, as most Rises has been opting for the Deathfire touch. And even if you go for Storm Raid Surge, you need a pretty significant trade of upfront damage to proc that in favor of Rise, which you can't do in the same way you did with Phase Rush, where it was like EQ on the wave, or you can W to guarantee Phase Rush procs, because like that's an auto slow, and go from there.
Yeah. Top Esports recognizing that because there's a lack of significant frontline and a lack of significant engage, they already start targeting Zhuo's effective tank champion pool. He has yet to play Alistar this entire split, same with Leona, but both of those tank supports would have been nice to have for this lineup. Next most played champion, though, would be the Nautilus. That is still available. I'm curious if Top Esports try and snipe that away from Zhuo.
Yeah. I mean, you really want support counterpick usually, but I think they're really asking for Zhuo to go for something like Naut. Because if it is a Nautilus that comes in, they can easily go Jhin Bard, be really happy with where things are at. So I think NIP, if they want to deny the Bard, real conversation around that. I don't think Bard is insanely valuable this game. You are playing it in a pretty melee-heavy composition with a Jhin behind it. As I think the better answers to Jhin kind of missing for NIP. I mean, I think Ashe is something that you can still play and just struggle through. Ashe Braum, I guess, into Bard is kind of hard. It's going to be a Sivir, though, as a choice, which makes the lack of frontline, I guess, a little bit better, giving you some of the move speed. But Sivir Nautilus, not exactly a lane that I think is really good together.
I think the only vote of confidence you can get for NIP is that
you just need Nautilus. Yeah.
You need the Nautilus, and the Sivir can be left alone, and you just wave clear all day.
This is a Kai'Sa game, if I've seen one, Raafaa.
Oh, rel?
Kai'Sa, Kai'Sa Nautilus for me is just so much happier, and honestly really nice in the comp that's showing. Like, Kai'Sa, I feel like, moves around the K'Sante Maokai Yone better than Sivir almost does, but yeah.
It would have been a first-time Kai'Sa from Assum, but then again, this is also a first-time Sivir, this split as well, so not really a comfortable position. Would Tristana have been okay?
No.
Okay.
I think he gets stat checked by the Maokai K'Sante as Triss, which is why Kai'Sa with the passive, the Plasma, I think definitely doable.
Yeah, I was just taking a peek at what Assum has played this split, or at least been able to show, and I remember the Tristana game he had was really, really, really hype. But looking at the overall compositions from both teams here, once again, your only front line from the side of Ninjas in Pyjamas is Nautilus. You have point-and-click CC at the very least, but you are really, really betting on this entire top side to get out with not only a lead, but also to scale a lot better than the Yone Maokai K'Sante big beefy front line here.
I feel like the top esports comp is just so much more intuitive, or I've seen this played a lot more. Now, I expect them to get behind early, and I think that's the challenge for NIP, is in the records. I mean, this is a team that's trying to punch their way up higher in the standings. This is a game where I think they really need to use the lanes they have, especially the solo lanes, to find an early lead and try and build a little bit of a snowball off of that. So we'll see. Game one, great solo lane performances from NIP. You're going to need it again in this one.
Really good damage from NIP there, being able to catch Tien out as he went for the classic ward onto the Raptor pit. Thankfully for Tien, though, he knows that this Nefiri is not going to be invading on his red side anytime soon, and the Bramble Smash is still a very, very effective tool at being able to clear these cams incredibly fast and efficiently. He also went for the Aftershock.
Yeah.
So the couple other Maokais we've seen in Global have mostly been first strike users. But because there's no real front line from NIP, you're not necessarily pressed to make sure that your damage spread is balanced between both magic and physical. So this might just be like a full tank Maokai with like Protoplasm and Zeke's
rush. Yeah, I think it's going to be Zeke's rush for Tien. Kind of the idea, as currently we see Guwon getting up in the face of Tien, trying to make something happen as we have a bit of a split map scenario. Care already warding for this as Tien likely to cross, and will be a bit difficult into the Sivir, who with those bouncing blades early does get pushed. So I like the map setup for NIP a lot better in this one. As again, I feel like the real strengths we've seen of NIP when they have been good this split, it has been smart pathing by Guwon. I think that him and Kara have done a nice job of playing games quickly to try and snowball things in their favor. And then their bot lane's been solid.
Can Tien get there in time?
Yeah, he smited it.
Oh, no!
Oh, that's disaster.
No, 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 no. Oh, Guwon. Oh, I would want to FF if I'm in the Fury at that point.
Well, your mental's never been that good, Raafaa, so don't blame me there.
No, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
I'm giving you
I mean, really critical for Tien to be able to hustle over
big.
there.
That was big.
The ward early placed. I don't know if that was Tien or Creme or maybe even Zhuo, but that information was absolutely pivotal to making sure that Guwon, who took a big investment into crossing over that top side of the map, is now decelerated because he didn't want to use his own smite to finish off that blue buff there.
He flash smited it too.
I mean, super base, honestly. And now he can make the dive onto the bot side of the map. Does go flying over the wall since Zhuo did use his flash to create some distance there. Guwon now level 3, wants to see if he can try and tango with these guys. Good dredge line from Zhuo right on top of Tien. Do you have to go for the Maokai first? But the deadly flourish blocks up Zhuo. It's not enough damage from JiaQi Love. Is he forced to flash? No, he just finally walks up and puts in the third bullet. The last one being used on Assum. It's first blood for JiaQi Love's Jin, but Assum has run him over to the other side of the tracks and will be able to get a 1-for-1 as Guwon even takes down the tree down in the bot lane.
All right, NIP, wave pull 2. Assum should get most of that as Guwon can get the crab and get some camps back. Really big that he was able to get a kill there and try and answer back what, as you were properly highlighting, Raafaa, was a really good job at the end to set him behind. But a lot invested as he did flash to get that first smite off. And that will be at least punished a bit. So I think getting out of that, I would kind of prefer the kill going over to the Sivir and the Fury, as it was NIP who traded up a kill. And again, Zhuo, he did a good job of buying time here. That W coming up, it kind of forced JiaQi to overcommit for this kill. So I think it might have been a 1-for-1 or a 1-for-0 if JiaQi was able to stick with the rest of the team, but not the case. As Nautilus quite strong early. Got the W back up and made sure that he stalled out enough time to make sure that it was a 2-for-1 in his team's favor. As I'm going to expect... Oh, no smite for TN. Guwon gets it.
Guwon able to now be level 4 on the Fury.
I got to talk about this real quick, Raafaa. Of course, join the Discord and vote for all pros. We have all pros for Group Ascend and Group Nirvana. Something interesting for Zhuo. So he's been very Enchantress-based as a player. He's only played Nautilus, Shen, and then one Gragas game, I'd say, for Engagers. Everything else has been Enchantresses. And that's Vision Wards bought. He doesn't buy a lot of Vision Wards throughout the game, which I think on Enchantresses, there's been a lot of alternative league theories and science about not buying control wards and then making sure that you are stronger because your Enchantress items are very impactful. So kind of funny looking at some of the stats for Zhuo to see that an approach that has been taken, and it's definitely been a better split, and I'd say a good split for Zhuo. It's been a pleasant surprise.
Yeah. It's the first time that he has been considered top 3 All-Pro from us here. Meanwhile, top side, Hoya in a world of trouble as Zhuo goes all out, and he's ready to just slam down the Natofos on top of that Jace. Go ahead and fly up the Zhuo All-Pro vote as well.
Yeah, Doran's Helm for Zoyan definitely helping him early on as the new item. Cassante scales off those resistances, and Zoyan, best landing top laner we have had in Group Ascend, and definitely someone who is going to be in my top 3 for Group Ascend All-Pro voting. Nice solo kill from him as Hoya's Jace falls, and hold on, Realm Warp coming in.
JiaQi Love still no flash, but Care goes for the Flash Rune Prison onto Fengyue's Rel. I don't think it's enough damage. The second Darkened Dagger cannot reach the Rel. That was very optimistic from NIP, and unfortunately for them, they do not get it.
That was a lot invested. I think they have to turn this into first Drake, or else it's going to feel really bad. As they at least can use that to jail the bot lane for top esports, but a lot invested for not a lot there.
TN's flash is coming up in just a few seconds here. Bramble Smash Smite would be able to get the better end of Guwon. However, he needs a little bit more than just himself to be able to contest for that first dragon. So he's going to let it go over to the ninjas, and first dragon has been secured by NIP.
Well, it's off the timer of the Grubs, so we'll see if NIP can play for max early again. We did set up this game as NIP needs to find some solo lane leads in order to take advantage of this comp and really have it play out the way they want to. You're going to need to use, hopefully, Ryze and Jace to control a lot of space and find some poke with the Jace early on. If not, I'm concerned about getting run over by the all-in atop esports as TN going to go for the engage.
TN looks for Care.
No flash Care.
First of all, they know that Care has no flash on this Ryze. Massive fate sealed from Creme. Hoya tries to turn around with some of the damage he's got on this Jace, but Guwon sends it into the backline with absolutely no help whatsoever.
GG.
And top esports just wiped NIP in the top side river.
Yep, I think that's game. As, I mean, what NIP wants to do, what they need to do, it's just been thrown up in the air by the top esports solo laners as both Zhuo and Creme sitting on multiple kills, multiple assists, no deaths, and it is 0-1-0 and 0-2-0 for the solo laners of NIP respectively. Things are not going to get better from here at Raafaa, as Zhuo, he's got the wave. He's dropping this wave entirely, by the way. And TN just goes straight onto the member that just burned flash for that bot lane play that didn't work out. Great combo from Creme. His top esports make this look all too easy, and frankly makes it look like a play that NIP probably should have never signed up for. Where, again, I think the draft for NIP, they really need to get these solos ahead early. Might make sense early on paper to try and look for these topside plays. But with Care being flash was taken down immediately in the combo that came out from top esports as a whole, that play did not look close whatsoever.
Yeah. It's one of those moments where NIP, probably Guwon, is calling for, I have 1k smite over this Maokai. There's no way that we should lose this crab fight. Unfortunately, Top Esports can just jump onto a summonerless Rise in that exchange, and those conditions are just not as good as NIP probably thought they were. And it's a massive punish. All 3 grubs now awarded over to Tien and Top Esports. 2,000 gold advantage on their side. A majority of it split up between the 2 soul laners, as you called out. And here comes the Maokai ultimate to lock down Hoya under the tower. Still no flash on the Jace. Guwon tries to answer back with a endless pursuit. Okay, Hound's Pursuit gets the reset, but Tien with a nice Bramble Smash interrupts the second cast. Unfortunately, he's still a Maokai and will be cut down to size, and it's 2 kills back into Guwon's pockets.
I mean, very necessary that NIP gets anything here, as the shutdown is being on to the Nefiri. It is a little bit of a different Nefiri build of late, Raafaa, as it looks like we've seen some Hubris rush. Looks like this is the Voltaic coming in for Guwon. I mean, I think historically Nefiri's been a champion where it was a lot of Black Cleaver Shojin. You really wanted to get to that 2-item spike before you could take over games. I don't think that if it goes late, it matters, though. I mean, I think that Guwon needs to be as strong as possible now and keep these plays going. If he has ult up again, probably going to need to make something else happen again. As I know there's a Sivir on our screen. I think Sivir has a lot of targets to auto-attack, but in all reality, it's probably going to be a game that's pretty difficult for Sivir to auto-attack because the space takers aren't there for NIP. And this lack of frontline is you were kind of highlighting, Raafaa. In games where Sivir can't auto-attack, she's just not as valuable as other ADs. And that's kind of my concern for Sivir this game, because I don't see the angles where NIP like has the space or the crowd control to get that much space going for Sivir.
Fighting for another crab onto the bot side, but Guwon do not have their bot laner here to necessarily help. Assum can at least try and put some damage onto JiaQi Love, but he fires all 4 curtain call bullets and forces NIP to retreat. Crab is secured for Top Esports ahead of another dragon spawn here in a minute's time.
I was talking through that one, Raafaa, because I really didn't see the angle there for NIP. They were down a man, and there was a level 6 advantage on Fengyue. So they tried anyway and just kind of lose a flash for it. Bummer.
Yeah, in that scenario, I can understand that Guwon is just trying to call for these fights where he's like, guys, I have Voltaic. I should be able to rip these guys apart. But you're correct. The CC difference, if Zhuo's not able to have level 6 just yet, it's kind of hard to guarantee anything for NIP here. About 30 seconds out from next dragon. I want to see what some of the spells are going to be available as Zhuon. Gonna look for another chunk on the Hoya. Oh, God. Oh, my goodness! Zhuon put the damage down! Nitofo strikes. And my goodness, Hoya is not having a good game 3, folks.
Taking advantage of the aftershock on K'Sante. You pop the R, you pop the W right away in all-out form because your W scales off those bonus resistances. That got a lot of damage down on the Hoya. And this Hoya Jace game, sadly, making it look, you know, making NIP's typical strategy look a little bit more just with the fact that we cannot really make the Jace work this game, as sometimes Jace needs a little bit more time and attention. And, well, Hoya's just kind of being put in a body bag right now on the top side.
Yeah.
The Hoya Pog that should have been in game 1 now to this, it's not been the best trend, you know? As a mostly developing NA caster, we like when things trend upwards and players improve. This has been the opposite of what we want for Hoya this series.
Well, that topside river fight, I think, kind of removed any lead that Hoya might have had.
Yeah.
And now that this K'Sante is ahead of the curve, getting not only Steel Caps, but also Iceborne Gauntlet ahead, where Jace can't really build Armor Shred until 2nd or 3rd item, right? I don't even know how you're supposed to lane into K'Sante, as 2nd Dragon was picked up, and we get to look at this replay of Zhuon absolutely dumpstering Hoya.
Oh, I guess he didn't do the W Aftershock combo, didn't need it, just kind of weaving in the autos. As, yeah, again, if you proc Aftershock, use that W right away. It does scale off your resistances, and Aftershock gives you more, so you do bonus damage. That's somewhat the idea behind the Helm takes. Doran's Helm opener for K'Sante's as well. And Zillion is taking advantage of both and opened up a very significant lead. One that, again, just given what we looked at in terms of the general direction of this game, Raafaa, we were not expecting this lead to be in Top Esports' hands. I think that if you played these comps out in a vacuum, the Jace Rise would be the team I would have a little bit higher expectations to be ahead at this point of the game. That's not the case in this one, as Top Esports cruising. Tien, despite the Aftershock, still going for Leandri's to be some magic damage for his team. As He really is the only one that is behind whatsoever, and he's done his job, as his solo laners very happy campers.
Yep. Tien now escorting Creme and Fengyue and being able to push this wave into the bottom turret. Zhuo trying to protect Hoya under the tower to make sure that he is not dove with the power of this Maokai and this Rel. I think for NIP, a lot of their game plan and their concepts that they wanted to try and weave in made a lot of sense, with Care getting the early push into the Yone matchup. He was very proactive with the Realm Warps, and just unfortunately, they weren't always fruitful in terms of what way they got with it. I think optimistic was the correct word, and now Care might now get a treatment and understand why Hoya was struggling so terribly just a few minutes ago.
I appreciate the tech of, hey, K'Sante is ahead and built a lot of armor. Let's put Hoya into the Yone and put our magic damage dealer into the person that is dealing or built armor, and we can go from there. Kara's still losing that matchup, so that's not good. He has gone back, gotten the upgraded Gluttonous Greaves, and we'll try and at least use those with the best visibility. I, again, do not think that these boots are good. I feel like the defensive tier 3s are just very OP. But I don't think the boot choice matters much this game for NIP.
Zhuo flash forward for the death charge into the dredge line. All right, Ninjas in Pyjamas make the 4-man gank squad happen onto JiaQi Loves Jin, and they burn the flash on top of it as well. Guwon trying to continue the chase with the Hound's Pursuit onto Tien, but there's not enough follow-up there to finish off that tree, who did not rush Zeke's, by the way, Matt. This is still a Leandry's for the Maokai. So while Tien might not necessarily be as tanky and the utility is not going to be there with the improved ability, ultimate ability haste, these saplings are going to hurt. This Maokai will do a decent amount of damage. Oh, Care force a flash over the Fate Sealed.
I think it might be able to be turnable too. Guwon doesn't have the ult up. Wasn't in. Yeah. That wasn't there. Nope. Good escape. I think getting the flash out of Care. I mean, one that hopefully Creme and Top Esports can run with from there. As Care being Sumless, lies lack of movement spells without the phase rush, and just having both summoner spells missing, something it's like Top Esports can look to punish.
Oh man, this way on is starting to proxy. This is probably the most demoralizing part about being a top laner when you're this far behind, when the enemy tank just starts to go between towers and says, yeah, what are you going to do about it?
I mean, frankly, I feel like that's my question for NIP right now, because I don't know what they're going to do about all of it. I mean, things only get worse for them from here, really.
Yeah.
Yone at 2+ items, K'Sante at past level 16. Not exactly a game state that's going to make NIP happier. And again, they're saving Grace. The late game solution is awesome, who I don't really know what Sivir's ability is going to be like to auto attack unless Top Esports messes up. Because trying to play Sivir against Yone, Maokai, K'Sante, Rel, while in theory you're like, oh, I'm playing against a lot of melees. Like, I can bounce the blades and we can get a lot of big damage down. Think of all the circles and tools they have to make sure that Sivir cannot auto attack freely. And NIP doesn't exactly have the tools to prevent that, as they took a pretty squishy comp with a lot of backline. This is kind of coming into the day, Raafaa, when we were talking about we saw some drafts from NIP that we didn't feel were as cohesive. I would point to this one as well. And just Sivir Dot's kind of a weird bot lane. I know it's game 3. You're trying to hodgepodge something together, but I feel like Kai'Sa would be a lot happier in this scenario than the Sivir itself.
Yeah. Would have made the dive identity a lot more streamlined, and at least you could always say, no matter which target you select, everyone can commit to going in, or at least has tools to be able to descend onto that one target. For NIP's sake, they make the trade of picking up the second dragon, while Top Esports secure the Rift Herald for themselves, so they'll have an extra bit of sieging power here. Guwon wants to defend these Raptors, but Fengyue has the collapse first. So Guwon's got to be careful about face checking into other camps.
Well, Creme's just able to sit here and take the Krugs away from Guwon in front of his face.
Yeah. Especially without Call of the Pack there, Guwon using it preemptively on that third Mortal Steel slash. If he stepped up any closer, Tien and Fengyue might have pulled the trigger right then and there. And the siege continues now with both of the solo laners very ahead. A Fate Sealed goes a little wide, but beautiful thing about Yone, Matt, is that sometimes you don't even need to land the ultimate to deal a crap ton of damage. And Care is going to be forced to leave after this next wave.
Well, yeah, I don't really know how NIP gets back from this one. I think the Realm Warp play they made mid, like 5 more of those are on the menu. Kind of hard to do so against solo laners like Cassante as well. So, options probably going to be limited here.
I mean, Zhuo just finished a Jack show. This guy is Thanos. Who is killing this guy? At least Assum did not make the mistake that I see a lot on AD carries where they do not, or sometimes they delay their last Whisper item until third. He recognizes that time is of the essence to help bringing down this tank with the Lord Dom's second item. Not sure if it's going to be enough, though. Top Esports setting up shop here on the bottom side with 3 members in Fengyue, Tien, and Creme. And IP are ready to answer. Assum has first collapse. They snagged Fengyue with the dredge line, but a TP is coming in from Zhuo's Cassante. And now NIP, do you just drop Zhuo and say, I'm sorry, brother. You are the sacrificial lamb for the TP. And Realm Warp from Karen Guwon. Oh, Zhuo was ready to try to interrupt it, just not in time.
Yeah. Again, I don't know how NIP plays their way out of this one. I think that Realm Warp's out while necessary there, and they do save a couple. It's also going to kill a lot of time of what could be positive plays afterwards. So the fact that Top Esports, they get a kill, get the bot tower. They save the Herald crash for the inner, which Creme is going to feast even more. And Hoya trying his best to answer, but again, I think so far behind and out of this game. No matter what point you get 2 items and Evolve Miramana on Jace, you are going to be useful, but I think that's going to be coming a little bit too late into this one for NIP. I was kind of hopeful after game 1 of the series, Raafaa, that we saw an NIP that, worked on or fixed a couple of the issues from the last 2 series where we saw them go 0-4 against IG and Weibo. I really feel like in games 2 and 3, though, we kind of felt some of those same issues reemerge with, regardless of our thoughts on Shyvana, we agree that it wasn't appropriate in that draft, right? Like, you probably want some winning lanes around that pick. Don't have it in this draft. Why are we, we already have a lot of bad damage from Yunara and Azir, so why are we taking Shyvana here as well when it's weak early and needs to help lanes that do want to scale up? That's kind of awkward. And then this one, I could see the angle of the top side, but just don't feel like this is a bot side that fits with that. And even the top side, I don't think that this is a top side that really fits with NIP as a team. Like, Hoya Jace is probably not a champion that I'd associate with Hoya. And we have seen some issues with that specifically in this game.
Sure. I think the other problem that has kind of plagued NIP this series in particular is that in the windows where you should be respecting your opponents, they haven't been. The top side river fight from Baron, as soon as Zhuo is already booking it to collapse and you know that Care does not have flash, you have to respect angles for flash engages from Maokai. You have to respect angles for Fengyue just being able to send it. Potential fight in this bot side, blue quadrant. Oh, really nice W from Tien. However, he's still quite squishy on this Maokai going full AP, but Creme has the Fate Sealed onto 2 members. Guwon is instantly put down into the dog pound. NIP at least claim 2 lives for 1, and JiaQi might be the next on the menu. Ninjas in Pyjamas getting paid!
All right, NIP. Great turn from Kara on the Realm Warp to find 1 more. As that fight opening up, I mean, I think it was a little bit split from Top Esports in the sense that their damage dealers weren't there. Creme and Zhuo are the ones that have the 2 big leads. Zhuo's TP was not available. He was walking down. Creme doesn't join the fight. And Guwon just kind of makes something happen off of a Realm Warp that was a little bit too far forward by the supportive core of Top Esports. Great find and take by NIP. We were questioning ways back into the game. Top Esports just gave them 1.
Back to live. Dragon was soft leashed here by Top Esports, but Ninjas and Pyjamas are returning to it, and they
should be NIPs.
Are definitely going to get claim of it. So now they're on Hextech Soul Point here.
Okay. I mean, big mistake there from Top Esports again. The Soul Laners are the ones that have the gold, and that fight started. It was a 4v2 as the gate's taken, just too aggressive. I do want to give some credit to Assum. That preemptive flash out to get out of the Yone combo, I think really enabled him to make sure he got the damage down, and NIP could push that fight forward. is a little bit of a closer game now in terms of the gold graph. And I think for Top Esports, just putting a little bit more onus, I think that playing out these 3 lanes as they try and go to set up these objectives is the right move. I mean, the solo laners are very far ahead and can hold their own to the side lanes, but connecting with them. Maybe not playing 3 lanes right before the dragon spawns or narrowing that down a little bit earlier. Do want to give Zhuo credit. He was walking down, but maybe making sure that Creme could get there a little bit earlier was the big thing. As disconnected fight from Top Esports and a good punish from NIP keeps a game that we felt like was getting a little bit out of control interesting.
And something that NIP have definitely recognized, that this Maokai is a lot squishier than what we were anticipating. We thought that with the Aftershock Keystone Rush that it was going to be something like Protoplasm Zeke's, more utility, full tank. This is AP Maokai, essentially. Liandry's and Bloodletter's Curse. So the saplings and the ultimate for Maokai is going to do a significant amount of damage. The Bramble Smashes are going to hurt, but he's also going to be popped so much faster in these fights. So your front line is now really just mostly on Zhuo, whereas Tien is more of like an AP bruiser with this setup. So NIP actually have a lot more easier paths into being able to win out on numbers and get quick resets with the Hound's Pursuit.
Baron pull here, kind of aggressive. I think they just want the TP out of Hoya, and then can play side to side from there. We're engaging.
Oh, Guwon, you don't have Call the Pack! Hound's Pursuit right in the face of JiaQi when Fengyue can interrupt with the Magnet Storm. It's 1-for-1 so far, but they find Creme next.
Awesome! Awesome
on the front line! He just
did it!
Landed all of them! Care and Awesome! Assassinate the back line! And who cares about a Gasante take when your entire team is dead? Ninjas and Pyjamas with an incredible comeback!
Top Esports, I mean, I gotta say that fight, a little disconnected, and Awesome just kept on clicking forward. Those circles, the ideas that we were talking about that can stop the server from auto-attacking, they don't connect until it's too late. Guwon goes in. I just think he got chained 100-0, Raafaa. I don't think he had any time to get the W down. Beautiful chain from Top Esports. They one-shot the jungler from NIP, but all those tools were used on the Fury. Look at Awesome in this fight. Was able to get right up in the face of JiaQi. That spell shield wasn't exactly needed against Zhuo as the W missed. But even with that, he would have made sure they traded themselves out for JiaQi, and the damage was already done. As Care and Awesome shredded everyone in that fight after all the tools were used on the Guwon. And the damage of the solos from NIP, they were behind, but that damage connected. As this game just completely flipped on its head, Raafaa. It's a Baron secured for NIP, and a Hextech sold the spawn while their Baron's up.
And the specter of JiaQi not being ahead for the first time this series, that has been slowly creeping up in this game 3, finally rears its ugly head, where Awesome stands up, flashes forward, or doesn't even flash forward aggressively. He just charges past Zhuo and completely massacres the backline with all this bouncing boomerang blade damage. He now has a 2,000 gold advantage against JiaQi, who is trying to catch up on a fairly low damage build, since it is rapid fire second, trying to rely on some safety. Needs that Infinity Edge to be picked up as soon as possible before he is really a threat again in these fights. But it's not going to be happening soon enough, because we've got Hextech Soul in a minute's time.
And Hextech Soul with a Jace in the game as Hoya gets Creme's flash for free before the dragon spawns. And this could be a really oppressive Soul coming out, because easy to apply from Jace, and any of these chain slows could easily set up for Nod angles, Rise angles, or even in the Fury getting in the mix. I mean, I'm really concerned. I feel like Top Esports just kind of threw this one out of nowhere, frankly, with how we were setting up this game to go, Raafaa. And Awesome, I mean, really stepping up for his team in the last couple fights. It was the errant skirmish from Top Esports. We got it. That got Awesome the first lead in the top jungle, and then his ability to catch that in around the Baron was massive. And this is a Sivir that's very threatening, and one that does have flash up for this fight. So Top Esports relegated to play this one through bot lane. They can't play through mid.
I like NIP trying to force mid priority with Hoya, just using the Baron buff to pressure the inhibitor turret. This is Hextech Soul Point. It would be important for NIP, but they can wait. They can try and play this out slow. Let Hoya get some decent damage down. Care has no flash. They're going to give up the dragon, but they still have mid prio, and Hoya is going to break open the base here. NIP just need to not get caught out here. Guwon uses the call of the pack, gets snagged by the deadly flourish, but he is way too far away for Top Esports to try and capitalize on. And just like that, Hoya is running into the Nexus turrets.
No flash.
If they can keep them here, how much damage can he get? He's going to look for a Nexus turret. Zhuo is completely isolated. There's a Realm Warp coming in. They want to try and look for a push and a collapse, and Hoya even gets out alive.
They're going to be on TN as Guwon.
Are they fighting this? Oh, Guwon, does he have Call of the Pack again? It's a one-for-one trade. Junglers are down, but it's still numbers favored for NIP. Hoya TP's in right into Creme's face.
No flash.
Fate sealed at the ready, but he is chunked out. And Ninjas in Pyjamas went from being behind in gold to now ahead by 4,000. They're going to try and end.
30 seconds on Zoyan and TN. This feels like a bit of an aggressive push for the end, but with Creme no flash, they might find it. Fengyue.
There's no Magnet Storm. It's just a crash down. Fengyue is gone. Creme tries to stand up and deliver, and now it's only down to JiaQi Love. Can he defend? I don't think you can. Trenchlights connects. Ninjas in Pyjamas with an impressive comeback. Upset Top Esports.
In their home arena, too. I did not see that one coming. I felt like the Top Esports comp with how far ahead Creme and Zoyan were. I felt like that game was done and dusted. But NIP, they turned one mistake from Top Esports into honestly a big one with that Baron start. We got to look at that Baron start for Top Esports and ask, why wasn't it a pull Hoya's TP and get out of that scenario? Reset the map and the conditions where you want a 1-3-1 and get a TP out for free. There's no TP on the rise, so you'd only be combating the Realm Warps. Instead, they stick the Baron, they get smashed in the fight, and NIP ends up in kind of a weird Baron scenario with Hoya just going for the push and NIP winning the standoff and Guwon being slippery. And they take this series in what felt like okay, NIP got game one off a better draft, and Top Esports cleans it up 2-1. No questions asked. This is an NIP win where we can look at their issues the last couple of days and be like, hey, they worked on it today. I still think the drafts were a little bit incohesive in the last two games, but they got the win in the third. They get the series win. That's what matters for NIP is, and take one step closer to keeping that dream of making top 4 alive.
Wow.
That was surprising. I did not have them winning that one. Did not have them winning that one.
Flabbergasted. This might be a care pog. I have to think about it.
Ooh.
But it...
Not a Hoya pog.
Nope.
I think it's an awesome pog. I actually really do. I think
it could be an awesome pog.
Yeah, I think awesome played really well in the two fights that mattered.
Yeah, if it's an awesome pog, it might still be like a care player of the match for NIP.
I would give care player of the match. I would. I think this game's an awesome pog though. But man, I mean, what a surprise, honestly, for NIP. Again, had two really cold series the last couple of days. Nothing impressive in the 0-4. I'd say that a lot of those games were over 10 minutes in. A lot of the drafts, again, not very cohesive. To show up today and play the way they did, and for me, really have a surprising Game 3 victory, that is a good comeback win against Top Esports. And of course, we were setting this up as Top Esports probably need to make some mistakes, give away some angles to NIP for them to get back, which they did. But how NIP took that and ran with it, some of the Realm Warps from Care, very solid. I think that's the best argument for the Pog. Surprising result to the first series of the day, Raafaa, as NIP move up in the standings and keep that dream of making top 4 alive. What do you think?
I'm flabbergasted.
Okay, there it is.
I'm just thinking about how Zhuo was pretty much Thanos on the Rift, and Top Esports did not play around Zhuo in 2 back-to-back critical moments that gave NIP the window back into the game. We think about the bot jungle invade that Tien and Fengyue forced, where Zhuo was not really a part of that. And I mean, credit to NIP for being able to navigate that scenario well and being able to identify, as Elgato sends me back to the Shadow Realm.
It's all right. We want to make sure you return before we wrap up the stream, Raafaa.
Bro!
I know it's been giving you some headaches today. Oh!
You know what? I prefer this.
Maybe it's good the camera died. Yeah.
Yes. You know what? We don't need the camera. This is much more adorable.
Wait, Kai, can we, like, squish the dog and then blow it up, maybe? Nice little squishy fur ball. Oh. Yeah. And then boom.
Here.
Woo! Man. It's like a cotton ball swath, you know? Just what you need.
See,
Yes.
this is
This is content. Woo!
When I think about Hoya getting bodied for like the 5th time in lane, I just imagine Hoya looking up as Weon just descends upon him with the Tofo strikes going, please, sir, don't do it again. I'm just a Jace. Leave me alone.
Any spare bread?
Any spare CS?
Yeah.
Please. I'm just a man. Leave me alone.
We do have some post-match details to take care of while we're having fun over here. But again, Assum really stepped up in those last couple fights. That Sivir damage, again, where I thought if the setup between the Maokai, the Yone, the K'Sante, all of it was there, really thought this could have been one to win. But maybe something that we overlooked, as it was a top esports lead for the most majority of the game. It was a squishier front line for NIP, but there is a bit of a lack of damage. If the, you know, we have a Jhin, if Yone isn't quite able to function, or if K'Sante wasn't able to get back there. I really felt like the circles into Assum would be really tough for Assum to deal with, but Assum was able to play out of it well, because I don't feel like top esports played cohesive enough to do what needed to be done to shut down that Sivir.
I think the one sincere credit I can give over to NIP, outside of being able to punish some of top esports' decisions that they made that gave them windows back into the game, is that they were proactive on making sure JiaQi Love did not get ahead this game. We explicitly stated that the prior 2 games, even in the first NIP win, JiaQi Love and Fengyue were dumpstering Assum and Zhuo in lane, and they needed some relief. They needed a way to be able to survive the laning phase or be given investments and resources so that they could at least scale evenly. This time around, JiaQi Love and Fengyue are not able to actually play for lane because there's a lot of support movement around the map, and also the very, very early kill setup where JiaQi Love does get first blood, but he is forced to overextend himself and gives a trade over to Assum.
Yeah.
That prevents JiaQi Love from being able to really have a significant dominant advantage this game. And the multiple Care Realm Warps trying to pick off JiaQi Love puts him further behind, and Assum is just slowly cooking before he finally is at a point of the game where Sivir damage is significant, and he can actually
this fight
contribute.
Is what gave him the ability to cook. And then again from here, like all these circle tools being used to shut down the Naafiri, I just have to ask if one could have been saved for the Sivir. Because Sivir, there's no Rel ult, no Maokai ult on top of the Sivir. That kind of allowed for Sivir to function. Even if that W hits from K'Sante, that gets spell shielded, and I think JiaQi Love gets cleaned up, and I think it's a winning fight either way for NIPs. So I just think that in terms of target value and who is prioritized by top esports, 2 mistakes that NIP turned into the game in front of their home arena fans. As, I mean, speaking of home arenas, by the way, IG debuting theirs for the 2nd series of the day, so that will be quite fun.
Very true. That's going to be awesome.
No, this was actually
super happy.
Awesome.
Yeah. True. Super happy for all the NIP fans who showed up to the home stadium of Shenzhen. You could hear the roar of the crowd.
You could?
In that topside Baron fight. I mean, if there is a way where you could feel like a rebirth and an instant revitalization in the audience, it was in that moment. And what a pleasure to be able to witness it here firsthand.
I was surprised. I really was. Yeah, but congrats on the win for NIP. As I feel like every time I feel like NIP is a pretender, they then go out and win a series like this where I'm like, oh, maybe they aren't a pretender. And then when I'm like, no, this team actually can compete with anyone in Group Ascend, which, by the way, they did split series against both BLG and Top Esports, the top 2 teams in Group Ascend. Anytime like I'm like 100% convinced on that, I'm like, okay, no, they drop a game or like they go 0-4 in their 2 series and it looks miserable.
Yeah.
And, you know, they haven't fully sold me yet, but they keep on pulling me back in, which I feel like is a positive.
Yep. As you can see briefly before we send it back over to us, Care is getting interviewed on stage right now. I hope that he gets a well-deserved player of the match, if not at least a player of the game, although I'm very happy and content for Assum getting player of the game as long as Care gets player of the match. But that concludes our first series for tonight between Top Esports and Ninjas in Pyjamas. Definitely did not go the way that we expected it, but I am entertained nonetheless. We're going to be swapping off with Mazel and blocks her for our second and final series of the night between BLG and Invictus Gaming. Make sure you stick around. You do not want to miss this. Woo!